recording with me is kind of like baptizing cats.
Broadcasting live from an Airstream somewhere in Tornado Alley, bringing you the people, places, and stories from the Panhandle to the Red River. This is your Only in Oklahoma show.
And welcome to the show. Today we're talking about the Watermelon Fest in Rush Springs, Oklahoma. And a little bit later, there's a white elephant in the room that nobody's talking about yet. We're the first on the scene, and it's coming out of Tulsa. I'm Brett.
And I am Harley.
So what you been up to?
So we just did our camping trip with the extended family.
And?
We had a good time, but there was a revisiting of a location that you are not too fond of.
You went to the river.
We went to the Illinois. We kayaked down the Illinois. Amber almost died.
See? It can be done.
She didn't almost die. She did flip over on her kayak, though. It was the very first time that she ever flipped over on her kayak.
Did you force her to do the 20-mile trip?
No, we did the 9-mile.
Ooh. And it was hot. I bet you spent a lot of time floating behind the kayak.
It was hot, but it wasn't...
It's a different kind of heat when you're on the water, isn't it?
Well, the temperature dropped a little bit for us for a couple days, which was really nice. But everybody with not my skin got a little burnt and didn't realize they were getting burnt.
You know, it's funny you say that because, you know, obviously I have two children that they both look like me a little bit, but Carson, he can walk on hot pavement, no problem. He doesn't burn. He gets a nice, I mean, he's got my tent. You and I have almost similar skin tones. But
you talk about Willis?
Mason, you got to put like 180 freaking SPF on him.
It's sunburned from his nightlight.
He is he's a glowworm.
He really is.
So I can sympathize with that. So you had a good time.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
Amber made enchiladas.
We
pre-cooked them and brought them frozen and then thawed them out on the first night to make it super easy. So we didn't have to. We had a really good dinner.
You guys are getting almost too good at this camping thing. I mean, I don't know what would happen if you guys had to switch gears and, I don't know, stay in a hotel. You guys would be making like a little bonfire.
Probably.
Well, you know, we're talking about how hot it's been and how cool you managed to stay. There's no better way, for me, nothing more refreshing than a slice of watermelon. And I know you hate it when I say this. I'm going to say it.
All right.
It's that time of year, man. It's watermelon season.
It is rapidly approaching.
It is. I don't know if you know this. It's Oklahoma's state vegetable. We'll have to verify that. But
I need Google on this one.
Well, I don't know. Well, joining us today to dispel all of the watermelon rumors and to tell us how to spit watermelon seeds, we've got the watermelon queen, Miss Taylor Abbott, and the chairman of the festival for the second year in a row, Mary Hill. Welcome to the show.
So, Mary, the Rush Springs Watermelon Festival is sponsored by the Rush Springs Lions Club. And
correct.
You are appointed as the festival chairperson. Is that correct? And you've been doing it for a couple of years now?
I have been doing it for a couple of years now.
Do you draw straws? Is that how you become the chair for the Watermelon Festival?
Well, actually, we just kind of, take turns being the chairperson, but it's very much a team effort. You know, we have different committees, and everyone just basically lines up, takes on their committee, and leads their team, and no matter what, no matter how much stress, it's always a successful day.
So, Mary, with that being said, can you kind of go through a day in the life, especially as you get closer? I'm assuming it's probably a year-round thing preparing for the next one. It seems like you'd probably be preparing for next year as soon as this one ends. What's a day in the life of the chairman for Watermelon Fest look like?
Absolutely. It does start pretty much just immediately once one festival ends, kind of cleanup, and then preparation begins again. We have anywhere from 100 to 125 arts and crafts vendors that we have basically just in our arts and crafts row. And those folks, basically a lot of them will just go ahead and they'll sign back up from year to year. Some of them will leave, of course, but those folks call year-round, wanting a spot at the Watermelon Festival. And then, there are so many things that we have to reserve and that we have to have on hand that we don't have, availability just in our small town of Rush Springs, that we just have to make sure that we have everybody on the calendar. And, for the second Saturday in August from year to year, we have a town of 1,500 that becomes flooded with, anywhere from 20 to 30,000 people from the very beginning of our day, which is, typically 5:30. And then we have a 5K and a 10K that kicks off. We have entertainment all day long, the day of the Watermelon Festival, and this live entertainment, and it's good entertainment.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yes, but we also have, as part of the Watermelon Festival, we have a carnival that is actually owned by a local individual, Great Plains Amusements, and which, that's just really neat as far as we're concerned, that just a local guy, runs our carnival.
Yeah, normally that's done from out of state.
Yeah, but Joe is right here in Rush Springs. And then we have, of course, the watermelon feed and everything that goes on just with the watermelons. In that process, that's a planning process for our farmers, that starts obviously months and months in advance to get those watermelons in the ground, the seeds in the ground, get them harvested. That's not something that just happens overnight. And then
those are all local watermelons, right?
Yes.
Approximately how many watermelons are we talking about here?
50,000 pounds.
God. That's a lot of salt, because I like to put salt on my watermelon.
That's a lot of salt. And then one thing that we also do at the Watermelon Festival is we have some food booths that are outside of just the carnival vendors and the arts and crafts vendors, but they are ran by nonprofit school organizations.
Oh, good. That's great.
So that gives our school organizations an opportunity to kind of do a one-time big fundraiser, so they don't have to do that, all year long. And it's definitely a success because they get to keep all the profits. They don't compete with each other. We don't allow, more than one food item, and that way everybody has a successful day.
Well, when you talk about school fundraisers, a lot of those school fundraisers that, our kids bring home, the cookie doughs and the candy bars, they get a very, very small portion of those proceeds. And that's why I like what you all are doing is, again, it's local. It goes right back. It goes right back into the coffers. It doesn't head to the East Coast or whatever the next stop on the tour is. I love that.
That's right. We have FFA, we have cheerleading, we have student council, different classes, even, just some of our local youth group organizations, they will jump in and they will do something. Our elementary teachers, that is just, everything is local. So it stays in our community, and it also helps our community too. Like I said, it's a huge fundraiser, but it does kind of keep our kids from having to do so many fundraisers throughout the year. Mm-hmm. Because we all know we get tired of buying them.
Oh, yeah.
There's only so many rolls of wrapping paper that you can buy in any given year. I agree with that.
I get every time I come out of Walmart, there's some kid selling something, and I either if I don't have cash, I walk really fast or try to get into a herd of people just so I can not feel guilty about not putting a couple bucks in. And sometimes I'll just give them the money if I don't need the candy.
Mm-hmm. So we also have a car show. Antique cars, tractors, motorcycles.
And is that at the park or is that downtown? Where's that part at?
It's at the park. It is at the park. And the free watermelon feed is at 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. I'm listening. Okay. Go ahead.
We feed watermelon all day long, but they're sold by the slice up until 4 o'clock, and then they're free. We do honor some pioneers every year, which is typically, individuals that have invested a great amount of time, energy, money, commitment to our community. We do that each year as part of a Lions Club award.
Mary, as far as other activities that are happening around the festival itself, I saw somewhere that you guys are doing a rodeo. Is that happens before the Watermelon Festival?
Yes, it does. We have a rodeo on Thursday and Friday night prior to the festival on Saturday. And then we have a parade on Friday afternoon. It starts at 5 o'clock. And we usually have a really good turnout as far as our parade is concerned. A lot of people just kind of come, they use the festival and parade as a kind of a coming home time, a reunion time. So there's usually, a lot of people available there. And it's hot. It's really hot.
That's the thing about the Watermelon Festival. I can't think of a better, aside from having a water festival in August, watermelon is, I can't think of a better way to quench my thirst. A chocolate festival doesn't work in August. Watermelon festival, you're right on the money.
And then the rodeo that we have on Thursday and Friday night before, the Fricks, F&F Rodeo Stock, Dwight and Donna Frick, they put on a great rodeo. We have a rodeo queen, but they, have added money like for the bucking bulls and the broncs. There's a calf scramble, a mutton busting. So, that's held every year, at the Chisholm Trail Arena just off of Highway 81. But they do a great job as far as our rodeo is concerned. And we also do a Little Mr. and Miss Rush Springs award every year, which is just a ton of fun. And they typically participate in promoting the Watermelon Festival along with the Watermelon Queen from year to year. And then they have responsibilities throughout the year as far as helping with little things at school and, again, just having that little honor bestowed upon them that they are Little Mr. and Miss Rush Springs.
So I got to ask, you guys are having some contests. I noticed they're having a seed spitting contest. What's the current Rush Springs seed distance champion? Do we know?
Taylor, she just won her age division at Paul's Valley.
I was going to ask if she did it.
Yeah, this was actually my first ever time
really
to spit a watermelon seed competitively, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. It was, something new.
Well, it's part of being the queen.
I need to know, how far does a winning watermelon seed spit distance?
Yeah,
what's the win on that? How far do you have to go?
Well, I don't know if there's a set goal. There is a goal, which is to be the farthest and to win.
Right.
But not that number. But I spit on Monday 19 feet.
Golly! I don't think my old lungs could do it.
I don't think it would make it past my chin.
The only way you could have lost is we could have sabotaged you with a seedless watermelon.
Basically.
Which I want to get into that science lesson here shortly because I need to know where the heck a seedless watermelon comes from. It's black magic. But anyway, 19 feet?
That's huge.
That's huge. I can't even, now I'm going to go home and try it.
Our record in Rush Springs, we have a tie for the record at the Rush Springs Watermelon Festival from 2006 and 2011, and it's 52 feet.
Jiminy, is this off a building? It just doesn't seem. This sounds like something you have to plug into the Matrix. To do. Golly.
I do good like 3 or 4 feet,
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
So what's the prize? A whole watermelon? I don't know.
Title, the
title, the bragging rights.
I'll take
bragging rights. I'll take it.
Our last 2 years, in 2019 and in 2021, our winner has been a hometown boy. His name's Marty Bishop, and he has spit 38 feet.
That sounds.
So have to work on a little bit.
A hometown boy sounds like he's got the home field advantage. I don't know. This could be I smell a rig. I think it might be rigged a little, like somebody's taking like a little air hose and like scooting his seat up a little bit or something. I don't know. It feels a little too lopsided to me, Mary, if I'm honest.
Well, our record holders are actually from North Carolina.
Oh.
And one guy is from Binger, which, they raise some watermelons in Binger as well. So he's probably practiced up.
Probably. But North Carolina, people come from all over.
Uh-huh. Yes,
Yeah,
we do. We have people from all over the state, different states. And then, we've also had people from, China, Australia, Canada, that's on their bucket list, and here they come.
So I did notice another record out of Rush Springs for the largest watermelon, which, to my understanding, is from 2012, when the Miller family had a 214-pound watermelon. Is that real?
That's right.
Man, how many people does that feed? I don't know. Half of me?
Here's the deal with those great big watermelons.
Mm-hmm.
They typically don't taste just really good.
That's why I was thinking that surely they're kind of a little bit too bulky.
They're pretty bulky. It takes about 3 or 4 people to carry those things, and yeah.
And a chainsaw to cut it. Gee whiz.
We also have a Grand Champion watermelon. We have just a wonderful watermelon.
Can you tell us about what is required for the Grand Champion watermelon? Is that like taste? Is that what are the criteria for that?
They don't actually taste them, but we do have a really nice melon exhibit building named after, a longtime community supporter, watermelon grower. He used to have a fruit stand south of town. But we have Black Diamond watermelons. They're entered as singles. They're entered as a group. Orange meat melons, Jubilee melons, roll sweets, all sweets, and then the largest watermelon. And then there's a seedless type variety as well that are judged. And we actually have, a judge that knows what he's doing as far as, judging a watermelon, but they don't actually cut them. They're just judged on their size, their shape, their coloring, just making sure that they don't have any sunburn, any bad spots on them. And, they can tell if they're ripe or not, if they're just right, overripe, underripe. So that's how you become the Grand Champion watermelon. And then there are class winners in all of those varieties that I named off.
I have a follow-up question. I'm sorry, Brett. I have a follow-up question. This is an important question. Does the person that judges the watermelons, does he have an understudy? Because I don't think... I like watermelons, and I've eaten a lot of watermelons. I don't think I could have even told you those criteria for judging a watermelon. So I think it's important that...
I judge it solely on
judges.
Yeah, taste is the only thing I judge it on.
Hey, I'm telling you, if that's all it was judged on, I got it. That's not a problem.
I feel like seedless watermelons, again, there's something of the netherworld. I haven't done the research, but I don't believe in them. I eat them. I'll eat them, but I don't believe in them. I'm not as big a supporter of the seedless one.
Well, they're just a hybrid.
Nice try, Mary. I still don't know.
And we do auction off those prize melons at 3:30. So that way, the people that brought in those prize melons, get a little more money in their pocket because they keep 70% of what is brought in, and then 30% goes to the Lions Club.
So, Mary, just to give us an idea, historically, in the past, what does a prize melon sell for? I'm not saying, like I know it's an auction, so I know it'll fluctuate, but
you get what you pay for.
What are we talking here is for a prize melon?
Usually our Grand Champion melon sells anywhere from $500 to $1,000.
Good Lord, that's some tasty melon.
That's a lot of that's 5 gallons of gas in my Tahoe. I'm gonna have to get a ride. I'll have to get a ride to the festival just to be able to pay for the for the $500 melon. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, but typically $500 is probably the lowest that we've had in several years. Last year, we just had a phenomenal year as far as our auction was concerned. We just had some really good supporters there, and it's just so nice that we do kind of, rake in that for our growers, and as this year, everything is more expensive to grow, to drive, to eat, everything. So that support is just really appreciated.
Well, and I think a lot of that, there was such a surge after the floodgates kind of opened back up and everything kind of began to be public again. And that, especially in this part of the country, it's summertime is I mean, you can't swing a bat without hitting a peanut festival or some type of a gathering. And much like you're not the only community that relies a lot on the Watermelon Festival.
Or stuff like
stuff just like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, Taylor she hit the ground running from the evening that she was crowned, as far as just hitting these local festivals and all of the local events to support the watermelon the Watermelon Festival. And, many times they just reciprocate that support back, which is great. But, the Watermelon Festival, it's a family event. There's no admission to get in. It's free to park. We have shuttles that run up and down the streets all day long, transporting people that, we take free will donations, but there's no charge. So, it's actually an opportunity that you can actually take your family without spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now, it takes a little while to get here sometimes for some people, but we do our best to get people situated and make it as convenient as possible and have a good time.
Well, we're just down the road from you, so we'll be back this year.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be there for sure.
All right. Okay.
And apparently we'll be meeting one of our old friends, Mr. Matt Pinnell.
Oh, yeah. He's a friend
Very
of the show.
good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, mention our name when you're getting the crown put on. Just tell them that OnlyinOKShow sent you.
Just yell it out into the crowd.
Well, that's going to happen around noon on Saturday. So.
Well, when you're thanking your parents, God first, family second, and OnlyinOKShow somewhere in that holy trinity somewhere.
Top three. In the top three. All right. Noted.
I love it. Thank you, Taylor.
I keep forgetting we have royalty on the line with us today. Taylor,
Yes.
I need to know the process, not that they're not going to change the rules, but I'm not going to become the Rush Springs king. How does one become, did you have to spit a watermelon seed and win to get the crown? How does one become the watermelon queen?
Well, I really wish it was that easy, but there's a lot of work that goes into running to be watermelon queen. And this year there were 4 candidates, including myself, and we campaigned throughout our town by putting up posters and that kind of thing. And then we sold tickets so that you could come to our queen night. And then once people bought their tickets and came to our queen night, they had an opportunity to vote and to see us as we said our speeches and did a little questionnaire about just us, a little bit about ourselves. And then at the end of the night, when we were done doing those things, they got to vote, popular vote, and then your 2022 Watermelon Queen is crowned.
So is it every year? I wasn't popular enough to be part of any voting besides whether or not to expel or just suspend. So every year you give up the crown every year, or how does it work? How long is your tenure, I guess?
I will have my crown until May.
Wow. So you got to travel, and while you're doing this, I saw somewhere that you kind of travel everywhere, North Texas and all parts Southwest. Is this true?
Yeah. So I'll go to a lot of other festivals and other parades and things around Oklahoma, just promoting the Watermelon Festival and getting my town's name out there. And then once August is up, I won't go to any more festivals throughout the year, but I'll still have my crown.
So you're giving up your summer.
Wow.
I didn't really think about it until you said it like that, but you're basically from May until August. That's your whole summer break, and you're traveling around promoting the festival during that whole time. That's awesome of you. That's really giving back to the community.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's such a good opportunity though, and it's so it's a blessing to be able to share what my town's about to other people, because it's just it's hard to describe unless you live here, but these people, this town is home to everyone. And so getting to describe that and let people come for one day to experience what we have is so worth my summer.
So Taylor, let me ask you this. I talk to a lot of young people. When you're not doing the Watermelon Queen thing, I know you're a senior, or you're going to be, or you are, or were. What is your plan? Give me your 5-year plan. What are you looking to do?
So my 5-year plan, I am going to be a senior this next year. So
awesome.
I'm graduate high school, and then I plan to go to college and get my teaching degree. And I want to serve in my church, and I want to become a teacher and just really fulfill the purpose that God has for my life, and whatever that takes me in whatever town, that's what I want to do.
That's awesome. Well, I tell people a lot of times they talk about the journey and the destination. A lot of times that the journey may change, the destination may change, but as long as you have a clear path as to what you might want to do, what you want to do. It's the sky's the limit. I mean, and it sounds like you've got a great head on your shoulders, even though it's got a crown made of watermelon on it. I'm just saying.
Thank you.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, right?
Okay, so I know you talked about how, like, my summer basically is on hold, and I would completely agree with that. I think something else that's really important that I don't think gets highlighted a lot is about just, like, the kids in this community also. Like, all of my classmates, probably, it's 7:38, probably around right now, are loading their trucks and going out to just every field in Rush Springs just to load up and pick melons.
Oh, wow.
And that's hard work. And I think that's something that's really cool just about my town is, like, they're giving up their nights where they could be driving around, hanging out with friends to pick watermelon for a festival.
That's awesome.
And so I just think it's super important, like, to see how much my community comes together and just helps each other, and not just adults, but kids also. And it's just, like, really amazing.
And I think young people, and I'll be honest with you, I think especially in this generation, it gets a bad rap about young people not wanting to do and be a part of, and kind of just hanging out and running around doing nonsense. And just what you said there is exactly what we need to do as all communities, as a culture. There's this huge divide between the old folks and the young folks, and I really like that you're out, beating the bushes, and all your friends are doing it too. I mean, I think it's great.
Yes.
That's a very good point.
So one last thing, if I'm buying a watermelon in the wild, what am I looking for?
In the wild?
Well, if I'm buying it from the big box guys, if I'm at Walmart and I'm like, hey, look, it's watermelons. They're $3 a piece. What am I looking for? What's the best watermelon?
First of all, if you're in Walmart,
I know.
Yeah.
We're just gonna. It was nice talking to you. We'll just.
Yeah. Exactly.
What if I don't have a choice? I'm just. What am I looking for? Am I looking for a nice yellow spot on the bottom? What?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
But mostly it's sound for me.
The thunk 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 sound.
I'm a thumper.
Yeah.
So just kind of that, just kind of just dead,
yeah.
dull sound. It's kind of like
yeah. I'm gonna keep this sound so I can go. What did she say again? Okay, that's a good one. Mary said that was a good one.
Just not a hollow ringing sound.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Not hollow.
All right. Well, let me ask you this, Mary. I know a lot of people know where this is, how to figure out what's going. Where can people go? Where is the clearinghouse for all Watermelon Festival information? That way, people kind of can figure out exactly what they're doing.
We have a Facebook page. It's called the Rush Springs Watermelon Festival. It's just filled with all kinds of information. We are actually finalizing the kind of schedule of events, so that will be updated next week. So you can ask questions on there. We get back to you pretty promptly, and if we don't know, we try to find out.
Awesome. Well, it sounds good. Looking forward to being out there, and probably not gonna get into 10K because I'll be waterlogged with watermelon. But yeah, thanks again for coming on. Honestly,
you're welcome. Thanks for contacting us. It's great. We appreciate the publicity, and we just look forward to meeting you guys.
Well, coming up after the break, we've got huge, like 15,000 pounds of news out of Tulsa. Stick around.
So you mentioned my Redbone Taco t-shirt that I'm wearing.
Yeah, it's a cool shirt.
And I will emphasize again that it is a great idea.
It's a great idea. I don't know if black is a great idea right now. Well,
all of my t-shirts are black.
I know. I've noticed I'm going, I could probably wear a pink shirt right now. It's almost too dang hot outside.
But I think it's important to point out that Kelly over at Redbone Indian Tacos, she not only got me to buy a billboard for her company, but she gets me to wear it on the regular. So I'm walking around advertising Redbone Indian Tacos damn near weekly.
And I'm sorry, I'm not going to wear a t-shirt for something. I'm not going to advertise something I wouldn't eat.
Absolutely not. I don't wear ironic t-shirts.
No.
All of my t-shirts are very specific. If you see me wearing a t-shirt for something, I like that thing.
Okay, I'm guilty. I wore an ironic t-shirt, or at least I thought it was. I don't know why I did. This was 2013, 3, something. I wore a shirt that said trophy wife on it. I don't know why I did it. I don't know. I've been married twice. I haven't been a trophy wife either one. But if you're looking to upgrade your image, if you don't want to be ironic, if you want to be on message, get with Ronnie Davenport at Tailboard Apparel.
Ronnie is a firefighter and a screen printer.
Yes. Full time.
Full time on both.
Yes.
And he does great work.
Yep.
Can help you refresh your logo if you need it. But more importantly, can crank out some awesome looking shirts for you.
Mm-hmm.
Some little mini billboards that you can give to your customers or have your customers buy, like Kelly over at Redbone Indian Tacos.
Right. I have 200 mini billboards in my closet right now.
Absolutely. So call Ronnie for a free quote today. 405-517-2174.
Or catch him on the web at tailboardapparel.com.
So, Brett, you have teased enough.
Yeah.
What news, what huge news story do you have coming out of Tulsa?
Okay. Tulsa Zoo made a huge announcement. Get ready. They've got a new project. It's beginning construction on the Oxley Family Elephant Experience and Elephant Preserve. Right now, the zoo has 3 Asian elephants. They're building the herd right now. Booper, Sneezy, and Snooky. So they're looking to build a herd here. The largest herd of Asian elephants, not in Oklahoma, but in the nation.
That's cool. Looking at this news story, they are talking about having a 13-acre exhibit for the elephants. That is massive. Dude, I don't know how big regular elephant exhibits are.
Well, yeah.
But they don't look like 13 acres. They look like 13 square feet.
Well, and I teased in the beginning, and we talked about it before the show. A grown elephant weighs in upwards of 15,000 pounds. They've got to have a huge area to house these elephants in. They're building a 36,000 square foot barn.
Dude, that is huge.
That's huge. It's like the size of a mansion.
But more importantly, I think this is huge for tourism in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like you have a lot of people that love elephants,
yeah.
And if you get to pick between the zoo in, say, Texas or Arkansas that has a 150 square foot elephant exhibit,
right,
where the elephants have to stand on each other, or you get to drive a couple hours to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and get to go to one of the largest elephant exhibits in the country,
right?
Where are you going?
You're going probably...
You're going to be living on Tulsa time.
You're living on Tulsa time. Now, and this is nothing to cast any shade against the OKC Zoo. They've got a really nice Asian elephant experience, and I've been to it a few times. But I think if you're headed to the northeastern part of the state, it's definitely going to be worth a stop through, and it's coming quick. We're talking like 2024.
No, that's really fast, and I'm super pumped on them. I've always had a fondness for the Tulsa Zoo.
Yeah.
It's a little more intimate than most zoos, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Everything just seems closer.
I feel like at the Tulsa Zoo, if I fall over the fence, my mortality rate drops significantly. Other zoos, I fall into a ditch. The animal has to figure out where I'm at, then come get me. Here, I'm like...
You're right there. You fall right into the ditch.
This is if from the frying pan into the fire, if it was a zoo type experience, my chances are more likely I'm going to come up and close and personal with something that's going to kill me.
You're ridiculous.
I mean, I'm just saying, for my bang for my buck, I'm an adrenaline junkie. Don't you know that?
No, I don't know that. I know that you cried when we went kayaking.
I did. But there was water in my face. You couldn't tell what was what. But definitely something to look forward to. 2024, we've got an Asian elephant exhibit. Stranger Things Season 5 is going to be... I mean, what a great year for entertainment.
Well, if you decide to make it out to the Asian elephant exhibit in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 2024, you need to be sure to tell them that you heard about it first on the OnlyinOKShow.
Tell
that's
Snooky.
The reason that you're there.
Tell Snooky.
The elephants want to hear it.
They want to hear. When you're feeding them peanuts, tell them about the OnlyinOKShow.
Absolutely. Well, this has been the OnlyinOKShow. I am Harley.
I'm Brett.
And we're out of here. Peace. Bigfoot is scaring up tourism dollars for Oklahoma. Absolutely. Ronnie is a firefighter.
No, it's okay. It's
Okay.
fine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
Send our text to P.O. Box 597.
we were going to ask the same thing, but I have a feeling we're going to get paid in watermelon, which is fine, which is completely fine because apparently I buy mine at Walmart and I don't deserve a good watermelon.
You do not.
And which is actually named, it's called the McAdoo exhibit.
We're leaving it in, by the way. Is that a recent news story? I thought
5 days ago.
we're in Honeybee.
Broken Bow.
Shut that door, man. I told you I got misophonia. The noises irritate me. I get irritated. I begin to get irritated. Irritated by the sound. I've come to speak with you again. Because of visions. Where'd you get a Redbone shirt at? Did I get you one? Redbone. Today's show brought to you by Redbone Indian Tacos. What would be the Redbone Indian Tacos? So good, Sasquatch ate them.
Check.
So I saw this video. I can't remember it. You talked about Bigfoot, and the title of the video is Bigfoot Scream Caught on Tape or whatever. So anyway, I fast forward. I'm like, okay, blah 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 blah, blah, because they're walking to the place, and I get to the part, and it's like, no joke. They're like, did you hear that? Yeah, I did too. That wasn't no siren, was it? That was a damn siren, dude. It was plain as day. Maybe it's because I grew up in a neighborhood where there's sirens all the time, but it was legitimately like, I'm like, no, it's not a Bigfoot. This is not evidence. This is why we can't have anything nice. There's nothing over the course of, since we've talked about, when we used to talk about Bigfoot for a living, basically, I've come to the understanding that maybe if it's like anything else, if it exists to you, then it's real.
Okay.
Like I don't mean to categorically put it in like the same menagerie as Santa Claus or fairies or things like that. Obviously, Santa Claus, you can take or leave, but I just think a lot of it is people are so invested that there's nothing that can change their mind. Like the scream. It was clearly a siren. Mm-hmm. It was a siren. When we're done here, I'll play the video for you. But it was a siren.
Okay.
Just saying. It was a siren. A siren.
Yeah, but dude, when we went to Honeybee,
I don't know. I can't tell you. It wasn't an elk.
It was 2 seconds after we crossed into Honeybee proper that you heard Bigfoot.
Did you not hear the same noise I heard?
I heard the same noise as you, but it could have been...
But here's the other thing. Could have been somebody out there in the woods trying to do calls.
Or it could have been a silverback gorilla.
No, skunk ape. Skunk ape. Let's get it right. That looks a lot like a silverback gorilla, but it's a skunk ape. Okay. You ready for my... You're probably going to eviscerate this one.
All right, go.
My theory on Vecna. Obviously, yes, Vecna is a character in Dungeons and Dragons, right? He's an actual character. I did that research, but he's only represented. He's like a one-eyed creature or entity. It's nothing like Vecna in Stranger Things.
Okay.
I'm going to go deep dive. I think Vecna represents mental health.
Okay.
Not everyone is affected by him. Each person that's had an experience has a secret or an issue with themselves or society.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what to me, that's what he represents.
Okay.
That's it.
What?
I know it's a dumb theory, but I
don't,
you don't put that much stock in it?
Yeah, I don't know that I give it that much credence. I don't think they did.
What?
I just want to say, while
something.
we're recording,
Say something.
that I liked your Pops video.
Here's what I'm trying to figure out. I really want to get into more of the videos, like the better quality videos. I can't figure out how to make the text like if you type too much, it just compresses, and I don't know that there's a way to make it any bigger. So I think what I'm going to do in the future is I'm only going to use the text lines for brief, kind of like I did with the who made the sculpture thing, and then just in my head, because I was kind of going, we were headed somewhere else, make the video a little bit longer, and then add those factoids in audio. That way they're still in there. But I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. All right, you ready to kick this pig?
I'm as ready as I'm. Sorry, as ready as I'm. Yeah, 100% ready. You're like, dude, you've got sleep apnea and you're wide awake. We're not going to get far. Yes, I am ready. Welcome to the show. Want me to do that? Just go right in. Pull what's left of your hair out on Sunday. Yeah, bad. 3, 2, 1. And welcome to the show. Today we're discussing the watermelon. I've got these D&D characters in my head now. I'm a watermelon. I have 20, what is it, 20, I don't know, 20 points confidence. What are some of the cheesy attributes?
Charisma?
Charisma.
Constitution? What were you thinking about?
I was thinking charisma.
Okay.
I have 20 femininity. What? No, you're 100% femininity. You're toxic. I'm the toxic masculinity man. Can't keep that in there.
Yeah, I can. That may go at the front of the show.
I've never been accused of toxic masculinity. Not with this beard.
I have been accused of tossed masculinity.
Tossed? Speaking of tossed. No, we're not going to talk about it. 3, 2, 1. And welcome to the show. Today we're discussing the Watermelon Festival in Rerun Springs.
Okay.
I don't want to do discussing. We're going to talk about.
Which is fine. I don't care how you say it.
Yeah.
But I did leave in the spidey senses tingling. That's not appropriate. It's from the different news story,
yes,
and I just copied and pasted.
I've already got it.
Okay.
I already had one in my head. Because I was like, that's from the Devon Tower episode. 3, 2, 1. And welcome to the show. Today we're talking about the Watermelon Festival in Rush Springs, Oklahoma. And also, there is a white elephant in the room. And we're going to talk about that, too. In Tulsa. We got a white elephant in the room in Tulsa. Damn. Ready. 3, 2, 1.